Oh, hello, my spooky friends. I see some of my friends. All I can say at the moment is Sachi's tail. See some of y'all from my other channel, Silky Southern. Hello, Buckeye. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't say. I can't breathe either. Xanthi. Hi. How are you? Hi, Silky, Sachi, Scully, and friends. Cyber Warrior. It's good to see you. Love that picture, Cyber Warrior. Um, Shalom, Envoy. Good to see you. Yes, everybody have a great Labor Day. Vicky Shipman, hello. Alaska. Good to see you, Alaska. Debbie Ford, 57. Hello, good to see you. All right. Yeah. I guess she's just not gonna give up with the tail. Okay? Not gonna give up. For those of you who are joining me from Silky Southern, just so you know, Adrian from Enlighten the Dark is going to be joining me tomorrow night around 6 p.m. So look forward to that. We say hello to Sunflower. Love that picture too. Such a happy picture. Um, Lisa Glover, hello to you. Hello, Silky and Sachi. Yeah, Sachi, I think she's going to be running the show tonight. Y'all can tell. She is not going to get down. I think she thinks she's just going to, if she could highlight y'all's comments, I'm pretty sure that's what she would be doing. Are y'all ready for something different? Hello, are you Jamin or Jamin Swanson? Either way, howdy to you, too. Um, yes, this is Sachi's live. Apparently it is. Are you gonna sit over there now? I guess she made her presence known. Yeah. So Labor Day. I thought it was just a good time to had a little extra time to just relax, and I thought it would be fun to just watch some spooky TikToks live because I see everything that you say when I put the videos up, but we don't get to talk about them. And so I thought, well, this is a good time, right? Um, I've got my water jug here. I'm running out of space, y'all. Um, let's see. Love your stories. Watch when I do cardio. I need to do some cardio. All I've been doing lately is sleeping. Oh my gosh, Jamin. Nailed it. Okay, Jamin. All right. So what do y'all think so far? We've done a lot of TikToks and I wanted to do some haunted hospital and nurse stories. So I was looking at that. There's so much scary stuff, y'all, on TikTok. And I'm not really into I think we did a live once where we looked at some of the scary paranormal videos, but I think most of those are hoaxes. Not all of them, but the way I look at it is if I can figure out a way to fake it, then I'm not going to say it's real. It could be, but nah. But when I listen to people's stories, you can kind of gauge whether somebody is telling the truth or you think they are by, kind of how invested they are in the story and their reactions. So, anyway, that's how I do it. But let's start out with some stories. Let's see. I'm going to take you to my channel. If you haven't seen I haven't been posting a lot on there lately. I was doing the series of my own haunted house. I am so far behind in that. There's so many other things that have happened that I haven't done any episodes on. But this is me on TikTok, Spooky Southern Tea. So we're going to look at some of the things I came across recently, and I was like, ooh, All right. Let's start with this doctor. And this is just a few days old.
So I'm an ER doctor and I have a story that is 100% true and still gives me chills to this very day. And although I got permission to tell it, I haven't told many people until now. Many years ago, I was working in the ER and I got a patient who was a drowning victim, a 5-year-old girl who had fallen in the family swimming pool. When paramedics brought her in, they were doing CPR still. She had no pulse, no blood pressure, she wasn't breathing, and no signs of life. We brought her back to the ER room and we attempted to resuscitate her. I placed a breathing tube, and fortunately, after about 10 minutes, we got her pulse and blood pressure back. Family arrived, and parents, of course, were extremely distraught. Dad, particularly, was really taking it hard. He was blaming himself. He was saying, I should have known better. It's all my fault. I should have known better. It's all my fault. I attempted to reassure him. I was like, sir, listen, this is not your fault. Accidents happen all the time. It was a complete accident. And he said, no, you don't understand. When I was a little kid, I went to stay with my grandparents, and they told me not to go down to the river that was right behind their house. I wandered down there anyways. I got in the river. I got in trouble, and I almost drowned. I started screaming for help. My grandpa ran out of the house, dove in the water, and he saved my life, but he lost his that day. And the dad said, first I killed my grandpa, now I almost killed my daughter. And I, again, tried to reassure him. I was like, sir, it's just an accident. It's not your fault. You know, everything will be okay. And the patient was admitted up to the pediatric ICU. A few days later, I'd gotten word that the little girl had woken up in the pediatric ICU and they had extubated her, taken out the breathing tube. So after my shift, I went up to visit with the family and the little girl. Obviously, the little girl wasn't talking too much because she's still recovering. So I'm talking to the mom and dad. They're extremely thankful. They're very grateful. And obviously, they're overwhelmingly ecstatic that she's going to survive this awful ordeal. So then I turn my attention to the little girl and I'm like, just sparking up natural conversation. Hey, do you remember me? And she's like, no. And I said, do you remember the nurses? Do you remember the paramedics? No, no. And out of nowhere, she goes, I remember Sam. And I said, who's Sam? She goes, I don't know. And I said, okay, well, what was Sam doing? Thinking, was he, doing chest compression, someone in the ER? I don't know. And she said, he was holding my hand. And I said, what did he look like? She said, he was wearing a hat and a funny jacket. And then I'm like, okay, I didn't know who she was talking about. Then the dad walks over and he's punching on his phone. And he pulls up a picture from Facebook and he points it at her and he goes, was that Sam? And she said, yeah, that's him. That's Sam. And dad turns to mom and he goes, oh my God, that's my grandpa. So his grandpa, who had died 25 years earlier, saving him from drowning, was there holding her hand as we were doing the resuscitation. Literal goosebumps to this very day.
Wow. Wow. Let me tell y'all, I miss some of that because when I'm trying to find stories, I'll be on TikTok and I skim. I skim the story, like just pieces of it. So I don't really get the whole story because I want to actually have the reaction with you or when I'm actually watching it and filming it. So I don't want to already have a preconceived notion. And I did not hear that part. I guess I skimmed completely over that where the grandfather had actually passed away. Oh, wow. Um, I really just kind of caught the end of it. And so that is, wow. That kind of does give you goosebumps, doesn't it? And so imagine the guilt that that father was carrying. He felt like he had killed his dad and now he had, was responsible. That's freaky. That's freaky. What do y'all think? I mean, I don't think he should be carrying guilt, but it's crazy how the grandfather still there, still watching over the family. Um, wow. I think that's so cool though. What do y'all think? Have you ever heard a story like that? Have you ever seen a story like that? Um, Put it in the comments. I think my comments are actually frozen, y'all, because if anybody has said anything, there we go. Love your shirt. Thank you. Thank you. I've had this for years. I can't even remember where I got it. It just seemed like the day for it. All right, let's go to another story because drowning. That's that's I've actually known a lot of people who have experienced something with different kind of paranormals, near death experiences, stuff like that with drowning. Um, let's see, Sam. What are you saying? Sam didn't want his grandson to have more guilt. That's a very good point, Melissa. I think you're absolutely right. I didn't think of that, but I think you're absolutely right. He didn't want him to have more guilt. Maybe that was his way, of trying to say, "Hey, no, it's okay." I mean, at that point, wouldn't you want? I mean, I know if it was my child, I would rather my child live than myself for sure. Buckeye says there are some YouTube psychics who talk to angels and ancestors. They say ancestors can guide you. Um, I have, there is a psychic, just y'all, there is a psychic, and I'm not going to name her, but she reached out to me, oh my gosh, probably over a year ago about the Delphi case on my other channel. And she had actually reached out to other people before me, and she got very badly burned. Okay. So she didn't want to share all of the things that she had shared with them because they took her information and basically wanted to use it and solve the case and not give her the credit, which they ended up not solving the case anyway. Um, and so she was very hesitant to talk to me. And I was like, look, um, I said, I don't even want to talk about Delphi. Okay. Just tell me who you are, so we had a long, long conversation on the phone about Delphi and some other crimes and some crimes that she has solved. And we talked about her coming on this show and the other one. And to be honest with you, she does seem very real. Okay. That being said, most, and I'm very, very skeptical about psychics. I believe that the way that she was able to tell me that she did things in cases that she solved, she received no prior information. Okay, it was just completely cold case and visionary on her side. Um, she was very, very nice. Um, but most psychics, I'm like, I think not. Let me just say this: I believe that there are people who are able to pick up information, whatever label you want to give them, seers, psychics, whatever. Um, but I think there's a lot of shysters out there too. So I don't know, Buckeye. I'm not saying that all of them are. I'm just very skeptical, just like I am in the Delphi case. I'm skeptical of everything. Um, but do I think that we have a crowd, our people, our ancestors cheering us on? I absolutely do believe that part. Okay. I certainly do. And I feel like if there's any way that, you know, God allows our ancestors, especially our closer ones that, like your dad and your grandparents, if that is allowed to, interfere, so to speak, I believe absolutely they're there. I know I'm going to be watching my family. I'm going to be trying to interfere. I know that. Um, let's see. I don't know why. I don't know why my chat is freezing tonight, y'all. I have no clue. I can see it trying to move, but if you're making comments, for some reason it's just not. I'm having such a delay, so I'm sorry. It moves and then it doesn't, and I'm afraid if I refresh this whole page that I'm gonna like mess the whole thing up because right now what I see, uh Okay. There are some shady YouTube psychics, but I have seen plus one I saw in person who were very good. Yeah, I think there are. And like I said, the one that I talked to, Buckeye, I think she's legit. All right. So let's go to another one. Wait, let me move us down here. All right.
I have another ghost story. It's about room 7. Um, 3 of the ICs that I worked in, room 7 was just bad juju. It wasn't room 13. I'm trying to even remember. I don't know, but room 7. I I don't know if that's a common thing. If you're a nurse, let me know. Is your room 7 like creepy? My first experience with room 7 was when I was still on orientation. I was learning how to be an ICU nurse, and room 7 had a young mom who ended up going on ECMO, and ultimately she passed away, and it was just not a good experience. And then my next experience was I had a patient in that room, and every time I would walk in that room, it just felt heavy. It felt not good. Patient was he was on multiple pressors. I think he was like in his 50s. I can't remember how old he was, but he was to me at the time, he was an older gentleman, and he was dying. We tried to get a hold of his family. His family was estranged, so they didn't want anything to do with him. He was getting worse and worse. We called the family again, and they're like, we don't want anything to do with him. You can let us know when he dies. So usually when people are estranged from a family member, it's usually because of, unfortunately, drugs or alcohol, and that makes them be, a toxic person. This guy wasn't alcohol or drugs. He was actually, he's on the cardiac ICU. He had a heart attack. His heart was failing. He was not doing good. And he looked clean cut. He looked like he was well taken care of. Sometimes, people who have mental illness, they're just been on and off the street, and sometimes that's why they're estranged from their family. This guy just didn't seem to fit. But every time I would go in the room, I just felt like the heaviness of the room. And sometimes that happens because, I just thought that I was dealing with the fact that this man was dying alone. So I was going to hold his hand when he died. So when the time came, like, family, we weren't, he was a DNR. So we weren't going to resuscitate him. We had maxed him out on all the pressors, but we weren't going to be escalating any farther. So time comes when he's passing away. The moment he passes away, the glass shattered. Like, not even joking, the glass shattered. We had rooms where you could see between the two rooms with a curtain, but you have to be able to monitor both patients at one time when you have two patients. So there was glass in between, so you could peek at your other patient and check on them. The glass had it was reinforced so it wouldn't like fall out, but it shattered literally the moment he died. So it was that on its own, sent shivers down my spine. But I called his family, and instead of because I had talked to his son multiple times, this time I got a daughter or a daughter-in-law. It was a female, and she told me she wanted nothing to do with him. Nobody did. He was a horrible human, and that he had essayed his niece. Ugh. The glass shattered. Not people can back this story up. It was gross. But after that, we always would open a window. I have another ghost story.
Yeah.
It's
That is something. Opening the window. By this way, if you want to follow her, her name is Katrina Faye Kelly, the dramatic nurse on TikTok. I meant to tell you that about others. I can't remember. We're going to go back. I have another video. It's called the ER Doctor or something on the other guy. I will let you know who he is. Unfortunately, I have seen patients also that way who have died alone because they did some horrible, horrible things in their lifetime and their families would not come up. And I honestly get that. Okay. No shade to the families. I get it. as a nurse, you're kind of stuck there in the middle, you know, and the glass shattering. I don't know. Was that him? Was that an ugly spirit that came to get him? And that she said there was something about room 7. I absolutely know that when oh my gosh, something is eating me alive. I've got bumps, like something is chomping on me. Oh my goodness. Sorry, that I just got distracted there because I've got these huge welts. I knew I was itching for some reason. Anyway, I mean, I know that there are times that we've had patients pass in a very ugly manner, very scary, very maybe they were a dark person, or maybe their passing was particularly bad for whatever reason, and it left a dark energy in the room. And I think I've told y'all this, and I don't know if everybody has seen those videos, but I know I've mentioned it in videos before. When, I don't know, somewhere in there, that we've had to pray over rooms many, many times, sometimes over whole hallways, because of people who you keep putting people in that room and they keep dying. People who should not be dying die in these rooms, or have severe complications, have to, go, either depending on what kind of facility you are, either go to the hospital or move to the ICU or pass away. I mean, something traumatic happens until you get rid of the energy that is in those rooms. It's a real thing, y'all. It's a real thing. Let me see what y'all are saying. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I think it's just it's I th- the her volume is so low. I think that's why they have the words up there. Sometimes I can't put the volume any higher. I'm sorry. Hey, Queen Israel, I would love for you to send me your stories. You can email me at Evelyn Cottage. I have to stop and think, which channel am I on? It's in my description. It's on the description of every single video, my email. I would love to hear it. Or, if you want to, look, you'll always know if you want to come on live, if you want to come on live stream and tell your stories, I would love to interview you. If live is too much, we can record it, beforehand. I love the stories, y'all. I love them. Any way you want to do it, we can do it. But yeah, love to hear them. So if you're a nurse out there and you've been a nurse for, sometimes it happens early in your career, and sometimes you have to be a nurse for a while, but generally you will find that you have these kind of situations, either with families or with stuff, weird stuff when people pass. You always hope it's going to be a quiet, you know, or happy send off, but it's not always. Sometimes it's downright scary. I've had quite a few bad experiences, so I get you. And whenever I hear stories like this, I'm like, yeah, sounds about right. Nothing surprises me anymore, for sure. All right, let's go back. Let's watch some more stories. Okay. I love this woman. She cracks me up.
Let me tell you about this haunted hospital I worked at, where I had to push this body down to the morgue, and these spirits was jumping all on top of the body bag and pushing the body cart all up and down the hallway. So this is my first hospital job. I'm super new. I had never done anything in a hospital before. I was only doing like nursing homes and home health care, right? So I turn around and I'm training with this woman. You can tell she hated her life. She being rude. She didn't want to train me. She had me doing everything by myself, even though she was supposed to be training me. And so then, unfortunately, this patient passes away. And she tells me, like, you got to toe tag them. You got to do X, Y, and Z. So she's telling me what to do, but she's like not really wanting to help me. She'll just keep leaving out the room. So I'm doing everything by myself. And I finally toe tag her, and it's time for us to like go ahead and put her in the bag. So she comes in, she helps me put her in the bag, and then she looked at me and she's like, you got to take her down to the morgue by yourself. I said, aren't you supposed to come with me? Like, I don't even know where the morgue is. She was like, no, I had to do it myself the first time. Okay. So I went ahead and I was like, cool, I'll just go by myself then. So fast forward, I pulled the body onto the elevator, and I'm already freaked out. I'm in the elevator with a dead body, and the first thing that's on my mind is, what if this elevator stopped and I get trapped in this elevator with a dead body? Anyway, so fast forward, I'm in the basement and I'm pretty much waiting for security. She told me that security was going to meet me there. Now, mind you, I don't know where I'm going. So I'm going up and down the hall, pushing this body up and down the hall, trying to find this morgue. And so it's a fairly large hospital, right? And when you don't know where you're going, you be confused. So I finally saw this area and I'm just like, okay, that looked like it would be something like a morgue. I don't know. So I walked up to the door and in small printing, it said morgue, right? So I'm like, okay, this is it. I pushed the body up against the wall. And when I pushed the body up against the wall, I'm just standing there. I'm waiting for security. I hear the elevator ding and I heard the doors open. And I was like, okay, finally, they're here. Nobody got off the elevator. So then I heard walking from the opposite direction. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just waiting. Nobody ever comes. I'm down there waiting. Like I had pushed the body up against the wall and everything, waiting for about 15, 20 minutes. So finally, I was like, okay, let me call up there. So I called the unit. And when I called the unit, the girl who was training me answered the phone. And she's like, oh, sometimes it just takes them a while. It's okay. You can go ahead and just wait there. And so I'm just like, okay. So then I wait down there longer. And the longer I wait, I just feel anxious. And I'm like, I do not like being down here. Like, I'm literally in the basement. It feels like by myself. I don't see any other workers. This shit is weird. So I hear talking and I'm like, okay, let me walk to where they are, like whoever was talking, so I can tell them like, hey, do you mind getting security for me so they can hurry up and get down here? Because I don't want to leave the body, right? So I get to that area where I heard the talking and there's nobody there. So immediately I know what that is. And I immediately don't want to be down there. I already didn't want to come. So I get annoyed because I've been waiting for a long time now. And so finally, I'm like, I'm just going to search spree to try to find somebody myself. So I finally walk down this other hallway. And as I'm walking down the other hallway, I hear commotion coming from where I left the body. And so I turned around. I'm like, maybe the security people came from the opposite direction. Maybe that's them. So when I go back around a corner, I notice that from afar, I can see there's something on the floor. And as I'm walking closer, I can see that it's the belongings bag that belongs to the deceased. I had it on top of the body bag. And so I'm like, okay, it could have just fallen. I don't know. And so as I'm getting closer, I see that there's somebody behind the cart, holding onto the handles behind the cart. And I was getting scared. So finally, I was just like, okay. So as I get closer, the person that was squatting behind the cart stood up. And it's a spirit pushing the body cart towards me. And then it's a couple more spirits sitting on top of the body bag. Y'all, I never ran to an elevator so fast. I ran to the elevator. And I called the unit again, and I told the girl, I said, hey, I'm gonna need you to come down to the thing with me. The security didn't even show. She said, just come on back up here. So I went back upstairs, and when I got back up there, she had an attitude. We called security again. Security gets down there, but this time they tell me that I had the body pushed all the way over by janitorial. Y'all know I did not. No, I did not. I did not have that body pushed down there by janitorial. So security's like, yeah, I just don't send no more new people down here if they just gonna be leaving bodies just anywhere. Anybody could walk down here. Well, maybe y'all should have been where y'all said y'all was gonna be. Let me tell y'all about this.
I love it. Okay, this is Jamara, Jamara. So if you want to follow her, look, I love it. I love her attitude. And I absolutely have worked with people just like this. All right. uh, I so get it when she says this, this person obviously hated her life, hated her job. Oh my gosh, I've been left in that situation, yes, many times by people, when you're training and you don't know where anything is, and you're just and they're just like, "We'll figure it out." Yeah, been there, done that. And it was funny because she said she heard these voices out. Look, I had that whole experience here, um, week before last. I hadn't talked about that either. And then she says, "Okay, look, Sachi, I don't know what you're doing, but this is okay. Um, y'all, last fall when I took a hiatus from the correctional job that I work, and I tried going back to an LTC. I just can't. Once you work corrections, you're not good for anything else. So, but I was sitting at the desk because I was a supervisor, and I was watching the outside camera. Look, and I know y'all may say it's far fetched. She saw a spirit, like, stand up and look. Normally, I would say that does seem like a lot. But when I tell you, last year I was sitting there and I watched the outside cameras, and I couldn't take my phone out, and like, because I was new. I didn't want to take my phone out and like film, because first of all, I wasn't supposed to be filming in there. I wasn't supposed to have my phone out, but I wanted to film the cameras because I saw they were on camera. I watched. I mean, this wasn't like a flash. I watched a spirit. I'm sitting there like this. I'm just staring at the outside camera at the front door as I watch a spirit come out, like through the glass, come out through the front door, and like they're halfway in and halfway out. And then I see some other spirits on the front porch, and they're moving around a little bit, and then they go back in. And then I see three from the parking lot come closer. I see one from the building go out to the parking lot, and we had just had a patient die. Okay, just had a patient die. I see a spirit leave the building, go to the parking lot, and these three other spirits. I swear, y'all. I know this sounds crazy. I see these three other spirits come up in the parking lot, and they're standing there and they're talking. It looks like they're talking. I can't hear them. Of course, there's no sound to these cameras, but they're talking to the spirit that is just wandered out there. And then the one in the doorway just keeps putting her head, looks like a her because the hair is a little bit longer, putting her head out and then coming back in and then going out and in as these people. Finally, the spirit that walks out of the building joins the group and they leave. And I'm sitting there the whole time like, holy crap, nobody is going to freaking believe this. Like, I want to have it on camera, but I can't. I can't pull my phone out and film this. And I'm just like, oh my God. So when I hear a story like this and you want to say it's too unbelievable, I might have said that a year ago. But now, as I watch them myself, on the cameras, and I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, it's insane. It is insane what happens in healthcare, y'all. Let me put my glasses on for just a second and see what y'all are saying. Let's see. Marty Price. Hello, Marty Price. Intensive care can be downright active. Absolutely. Lori, what a lovely co-worker. Absolutely, right? Right? Hey, Samantha. Good to see ya. Oh yeah, I do send me an email update, Samantha. I want to make sure you're doing okay. um, let's see. Buckeye says not medical, but my mom died of a heart attack in my brother's doorway. Oh my gosh. She had volunteered in school libraries for years. The night after she died, some man called me and asked for the librarian. Oh wow. Huh. Yes, Sachi is trying to co-pilot. Absolutely, always. So you think Jamara is a medium? She might be. She might be. If y'all and look, I got an education today. All right, because I was watching this video by a woman called Hannah the Horrible. Okay, I don't really follow her, but I've seen a couple of her videos. Like I wasn't subscribed, but she was talking about psychics. And I watched a few minutes, and a psychic, let me see what she said. A psychic is somebody who, I don't know. Gets premonitions, I think. I don't know. Anyway, a medium is somebody who talks to the dead. So you can be a psychic medium, something like that. I don't know. I forgot already. See, um, Lori says days of our unalive. Soap opera. Oh, Samantha, I'm sorry you're not doing okay. Oh no. Oh no. It's been rough. Girl, I'll keep praying for you. I know it's been rough. I am so sorry. Jeez. Y'all praying, folks. I know you don't know Samantha, but I'm going to tell you. If you are a praying person, just lift up Samantha. You just, without even going into it, you have no idea this woman has been through this summer. But yeah, what do y'all think? What do y'all think about that? Okay, she's a medium. I can see that happening. But she didn't say she quit. So I guess is she still working there? I'm kind of uh I'm kind of thinking she is. What is someone that the dead try to talk to? I guess a medium. Thank you, Melissa, for praying for Samantha. Yes, she's let me tell y'all something. Samantha is a doll. Samantha is so smart and she's so brave. She's just been going through it. All right. Now, all right, so let's go and look at some more TikToks. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get it where you can see it because I mess this up all the time, y'all. So yeah, maybe she is a medium. All right, I think this one might be a little bit low, and I'm sorry for these low videos. Let me turn the volume up all the way.
So I had a friend just call me and tell me about something crazy going on her job. She's an ER nurse. She works overnight shift over at the same hospital that I used to work at. She says that the other night there was a man that came in as a trauma. He got into like a horrific car accident. He was practically like clinging to life. She stayed with him the whole night, but unfortunately by the morning he had passed away. She ends up clocking out, going home, sleeps for the rest of the day. That night when she comes back for her shift, some of the nurses are talking about a man in that same room. So apparently after the man passed away, they obviously moved his body out of the room, and then the new patient got moved into that same room. That patient said that he saw a man outside of the window, because there was a window. Mind you, this is like on the second or third floor. There was a man standing outside of the window with his face like pressed in, like trying to get back into the room. And I guess the patient was like freaking out, calling the nurses, but when the nurses came in, no one saw anything. When the man described what this person looked like, it sounded identical to the patient that my friend had the night before, you know, the one that passed away. She doesn't believe in any of that stuff. Like, she kind of does, but she's just kind of like, who knows, maybe he was hallucinating. But she said that later on that night in her shift, she heard tapping coming from that window. And again, this window is on either the second or third floor. She heard tapping coming from that window. When she looked over, she saw like a shadow, like it looked like a shadow of like a person right outside that window on the second floor. So I had a friend just call me and
Oh
tell me
wow. Yeah. Don't be tapping on my hospital window, especially on the second or third floor. That is by Tati's Tati. Tati's creepy stories. So anyway, I guess she's got some more. Yeah. That doesn't really surprise me either though. Like y'all, seriously. It looks like somebody that passed away. They're trying to get back in, but um I want to know, like, were they trying to get back in their body? Like, what is the deal? Where are you trying to get back into? Just in the hospital room? Because I'm like, I don't think I want to get back in my body. Now, I watched a video. I don't know. I'll probably make a video about it because I can't remember what I did with it. It's somewhere. A guy is explaining about we don't. He says that we don't actually go anywhere for a couple of days. You know, I've heard that before. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that there's all kind of people uh, that say their bodies hung around, or they saw somebody several days after. Um, a lot of thoughts about that we hang around for a few days, and a lot of cultures like believe that. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just like, I don't know. All right, but let's listen to this one. I think this one's a little bit soft too. I'm sorry.
Guys, you are never going to believe what happened at work last night. Actually, I have a scary story. Wait, hold on. That's not even what I was going to tell you. Swear to God, I clock out for a break and walk a mile every shift after midnight. And I'm float pool, so I learn little routes everywhere. And I was at usually what's kind of like a scary spot. And there's an automatic door at the end of the hallway. And I got like 3/4 down the. Oh my God, this is so, it's one of those long hallways where like the lights boom, boom, boom as you approach. And then as I got like 3/4 of the way, the double door, like the vestibule area, the outside door opened, but no one was there. And I was like, oh shit, I think there's a ghost. It's the hospital. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Luckily there was like intersecting hallway, but it's not a real hallway. It's like an elevator hallway. I don't know. So I like, but I'm like, oh no, I can't stop there. And then when I turned around to go back, I swear to you, it was like me and the ghost. Like the ghost hit me. When I tell you my ass took off running, like out of a scary movie, running behind me. If security watches that video, they're like, what got into that girl? A damn ghost. I was petrified. Ran back to the unit. I'm like, oh my God, a ghost, a ghost, a ghost. Freaking out. I was like, I'll just finish my walk up here and be a weirdo and pace on my unit right now. Did not get to a mile, by the way. Only got to about like 0.75. Failure. Yeah, absolute failure. Anyway, so then I clock out and I go to the garage, and there's the light that's above my car is flashing. The only one in the. I looked at every other light in the garage, only mine. Boop, 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 boop. Every level I checked on my way out. Boop, boop. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. What was that? What was that? Nothing will attach to me. I'm covered in blood. I am covered in the blood of the Lamb. I have never looked behind me and run so fast through the hospital. I also never want that to happen again. Let me be very clear. Petrified. If anyone can also explain this phenomenon that I've experienced tonight, please let me know. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Over my car? Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah. Boop, boop, boop. I love that. She's a good storyteller. Her name is Milla Gabrielle. Or Mel. It's Mille Gabrielle. You can find her under Camille Gabrielle. Anyway, that is her TikTok name. I love it. But look, absolutely. I've done some things too. And I startle. I don't get scared. I don't It's hard to scare me. People think they scare me because I startle so bad. It is so easy to like just boo at me. You know what I'm saying? I startle and I scream. So if something touches me, I'm going to go or even louder. Like, and it's not because I'm actually scared. I'm startled scared. So, but yeah, she sounds like she was scared. I have been. That would be me. I'm just saying on the cameras. Uh, and Jamin says that he wants to share the Reddit link to his family's ghost story. Um, Absolutely, yeah, share it. And I would, if I can pull it off here, I want to read it out. I don't, and let me just tell you this, Jamin, I don't go on Reddit a whole lot. I probably will for some things coming up. The reason I don't go on Reddit is because I never know. You know, when you're talking to somebody, you never know whether it's just like true or if it's just fiction. But there's some really good stories on Reddit. Um, Samantha says, Lord have mercy, when I get out of this sick, broken down body, I ain't coming back to it. Same. Running towards whatever comes after, because I'm sure ready to leave all this sickness, pain, and ugly. Yes. Me too. Me too, Samantha. I know. I'm like, I've already told my kids, I don't even think about resurrecting me. Don't you ever think about trying to pray for my resurrection. I mean, no. I will oh, it'll be bad. It'll be bad. Don't just let me go. Um you have red wasp trauma. Yeah, I have that too. Um all right. Hey Prof, what's up? How you doing? I saw your Substack. I'm trying to build one of my own. Good to see you. Maybe I can get Prof on here to talk about his experiences. We'll just say that. I'm trying. I'm trying. Somebody just said something about that the other day. So I'd love to have you on. Um all right. Let's look at wait. Let me put you all right, let's look at the next one. I don't even know what this is because I can't even remember now.
Extremely tired, but go ahead and grab your popcorn, grab your snacks or whatnot, because I have a bunch of extremely scary stories that I need to share with you guys. I don't know if you guys remember in the beginning when I first started like filming videos, I would talk all about all of my experience of working at a very haunted hospital. I used to work night shift, so I had a lot of crazy things going on. I just came in contact with some of my friends from that same hospital who still work there, and apparently things have only gotten worse in the hospital. They had a bunch of things they wanted to share with me. Starting off really strong with number one of my friends, she's actually good friends with one of the cleaning ladies, and the cleaning ladies told her this story. This cleaning lady comes around and cleans the offices like on the 4th floor that are empty for the night. So in the morning or in the afternoon, people leave for the day and the offices are empty. Her job is to kind of go up there and kind of like clean everything up, vacuum, etc. She says that she always has crazy things happening, but this is the one that really stands out to her. She says one night as she's going around in her own little world cleaning everything up, she starts to hear growling coming from one of the offices. The growling is so clear that at first she's just like, maybe somebody's working super late and they're like watching a movie or like a scary movie, because she just kept hearing the growling coming from that office. She continues on cleaning the other offices when the growling gets so out of control that she decides that she's gonna go knock on the door to see if they're okay, like maybe something's wrong with them. She says the minute she knocks on the door, there's like this deafening silence that just happens. Like everything just goes completely quiet. Like you can literally hear a pin drop. She's standing there completely terrified with chills going up and down her body, just like waiting for something to happen, when out of nowhere, like the silence is broken by an even louder growl coming directly from behind the door, like literally right at her face, followed by scratches. This completely terrifies her so badly that she literally runs out of the building and goes home. Like she doesn't even care. She just leaves. The next day, after she has kind of gotten herself together, she does decide to go back to work, and she mentions it to the nurses, and the nurses confirm. They tell her they're so happy to feel validated, because they have always felt things in that room that no one ever believes them, and the fact that she also heard it makes them feel like they're not crazy. This is just story number one out of many. Let me know if you guys want me to do more parts. I'm extremely tired, but go ahead and go.
Growling. That is not something I've ever experienced in a hospital. Um that is new to me in a hospital setting. I've had that in my house for sure, in many houses that I've lived in. And as a matter of fact, I was just telling, I don't know, somebody I was talking to in this past week. A house that I lived in about, I don't know, 8 years or so ago. I was sleeping, and I woke up. I mean, bright daylight to a dog like right beside my bed barking like really loud. It sounded like a German shepherd, which I did not have at the time. And like just two barks, and it was so loud. And I mean, like I sat straight up in bed, and I'm looking around because I literally, I think somebody has let a dog in my house. It makes no sense, but you know, when you wake up from a dead sleep, it was bizarre. And I'm looking around, it was so real and so loud. Um, I couldn't figure out what, I'm like, first of all, you've woke me up, so it's got to be the hounds of hell, right? And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but now I'm not only awake, but I am angry, um, because how dare you? I don't know. I never did figure out what it was. It never happened again. And after that, I did get a dog because I actually, after that, I got a wolf hybrid because I thought if you are going to come into my room and bark, then I'm gonna have something bark back at you. I don't know. But that was then. I have a dog. I have Sachi. You never see my dog Mina, but she's always here. So yeah, it was crazy. Samantha says growling and scratches are never good. Growling is the symptoms of either a pet passed away or demonic energy. I'm not sticking around to question which. Yeah, I couldn't say what my honest first impression was because you're just waking up from sleep in the confusion, and then for me the anger of how dare you wake me up, you invisible dog. But yeah, I had to assume it was demonic. That was the house that it had some problems. Everywhere has some problems. But that was the one that really used to like to mess with my washing machine. That was the worst thing. I call it my washing machine demon. Um, I had knocks on the door and stuff like that. It was very, very rural, so nobody. It was actually never a real human. I don't know what that was, but I've never heard of it in a hospital. So the growling, every time I've ever heard anybody talking about growling, and certainly if you've ever been around somebody who is possessed, um, maybe you've seen it in movies too. There's a lot of growling going on. A lot of times that is something. Barking is bad enough to wake up to. Growling means go now. Yeah, unless they're at my house. Like, where am I going? No, I am not going, Samantha. They're going. That is the way it is. I'm not the one going. But there's going to be a fight, and I'm going to have coffee first. That's just a given. Okay, no fights without coffee. Um, that's just the way I look at it. Okay, let's. But I mean, to each his own. Um, all right. We've got just a
I have a
couple
ghost story
more.
to tell you. I'm in a new hospital and I was walking around and it's empty and it's kind of creepy, and I heard some noises and I started thinking about all the different like ghost stories that I have from years of working in ICU. But the creepiest story that I have, sorry about that noise, it's loud but I can't turn it off. The creepiest story that I have. So I worked in a hospital that the unit that I worked on had never been anything but a cardiovascular ICU, or cardiothoracic. It was hearts and lungs, and heart transplants, total artificial heart, lung transplants, anything cardiac related. So on this floor, there was a patient that we had one time. There was a particular room that kind of gave you the heebie-jeebies when you walk past it. And we had a patient in that room that he was not a nice human. He was somebody that I had actually known like outside of the hospital, so I never took care of him because it was a conflict of interest. But one night he was confused. So he was just saying kind of mean, hateful things. But one of the things that he kept saying is he kept using a racial slur, the N word, and he kept saying, "Get that little racial slur out of here. He's playing in here. Get him out of here. I don't want that little racial slur in my room." And everybody, like, this man, I didn't like him outside of, the hospital and as a patient, and was confused, and it was not good. But anyway, he ended up leaving that room, got better, left. And then when you're in the hospital, you can get confused, and it's very normal for you to hallucinate. You have medications on board, like, that's just kind of a normal thing. It just kind of, sometimes your true colors show up whenever you are on medications. I've had women punch me that, their family members say, like, "Oh, they're so sweet and kind," but then they get on, medications, and then they are, hitting and kicking. And anyway, anesthesia can do that to you, as well as medications, and your even your sodium gets off. There's all sorts of things that can influence you. So we didn't think much of it. I think it was like 2 days later, not just a couple days later, we had the sweetest little old lady in that room, and I did take care of her. She was adorable. I swear I can't remember, she was in her late 80s, but she was so sweet and so cute, poor lady. But she was not confused, and she kept telling me, she was like, "Can you get my purse for me? Give me my purse. I really need my purse. It's over there." And I was like, what do you need your purse for? And a lot of times we don't give patients their belongings, because there might be extra pills in there, and we got to know what they're taking. So I said, "Well, let me help you go through your purse, and what is it that you want out of there?" She says, "I have some candy in there. I really want to get some candy for that little boy. He keeps coming in here and playing, and I have some candy that I'd like to give him." And I said, "There's no little boy? And she says, "Yes, there's a little black boy. He keeps playing over there in the drawers, and he's looking for some food, but I have some candy, and I'd like to give it to him." This unit had never been a pediatric unit. There was never children. There wasn't any children on the unit, and nobody was visiting, especially no children. It's pretty creepy. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. We hear about that a lot, right? We see a lot of the children. Why? Why in the hospitals when it hasn't been a pediatric unit? That is always my question. Um, a lot of times we know that there have been children that have passed away in these places, but a lot of times there's not. So where are these kids coming from? Are they kids? Are they actual spirits, or are they something else? I don't know. Um, let's see. Let's see. Mrs. Nat Nat. Hello, Mrs. Nat Nat. Silky, I didn't know you also have a dog. I'd love to see your dog. Does the dog get on with Sachi? Yes. Sachi and Mina get along just fine. She's, I'm I'm hesitant now. Some of my, I don't know, it might have been on my other channels when I used to set up across the room. Mina would get on the couch with me, and she was in a lot of my videos, but I'm hesitant to put her on the camera now because one of my sons decided to give her a haircut this summer. And she had this long, like this very long tail. It took her 5 years to grow out the tail and the ears. It was so pretty. And he really kind of gave her a hack job. It's so bad, y'all. Her haircut is so bad. It's starting to grow out a little bit, but let me see. Let me see if I can get her to come up here at all. Mina, come here. Come here. Can you come up here? Come here. Come here. There we go. There we go. Let's see. They want to see you. They want to see you. Want to be on? Want to be on screen? See there. There she is. Yeah, she used to have really fluffy ears and stuff. Yeah, she did. Yeah. But now it's so there you go. There's Mina. And sometimes she likes to bark during that. Okay, now I'm afraid now I've created a monster. I might have two new co-hosts. I might have another co-host with me. All right. Okay, you can go lay down now. You can go lay down now. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. All right. So there you go. Yeah, she used to be a lot prettier before her bad hairdo, her very bad haircut. But let's see. Hey, Zoe, good to see you. Okay, let me put my email in here. Make sure that's right. Evan Cottage. It won't let me put my whole email in there. I don't. It's a YouTube thing, but you can find it from that. That is. I'm sure that's right. Evelyn Cottage. Yeah, there we go. Yep, that's Mina. Yeah, it was so pretty, Lori. Her tail, it looked like a fountain. It flips over, like her tail curls over like a husky kind of, but it would, like, the tail had this long hair and then the back of it fell all the way to the ground, which, I mean, she did lose a lot. She does. She sheds a lot. But it was like a very long silky tail, and she hates to be brushed. That's the thing. If she'd let me brush her, I could keep the hair down, but she freaks out. I don't know why. She's a rescue. And I've had her since she was 4 months old, but she hates being brushed. So she would fight me on that. So the tail was just so pretty, and now it's just like there's not much there, and I'm so sad about it. She's probably happier with less hair, but uh yeah, you should have seen. I should put pictures up of when he first did it. I was like, I just laughed because what are you gonna do? It was too late. He couldn't glue it back on. I was just like, oh god, it's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah, Marty, she does. She feels better in this heat for sure. All right, we just have a couple more. We've been going for an hour. All right, we're almost done. The ones that I picked out. Let's see, to share with you. Okay, now this one says, "Is there a ghost? Is there a ghost just for nurses?" And I didn't watch all of this, y'all, so I don't know what all this is about. But I'm just gonna say right now, I hope not. I hope not.
Nurses, I have another scary story for you all, and I need more answers because apparently you have this thing called the tall man. The last video that I made for you guys, it got like 2 million on one platform, almost 1 million on this one. I got a lot of DMs about the tall man. One email I got from a nurse said that the first time she ever saw the tall man, she was working on a cardiac unit. She was on her third night of 12s. I guess that means 3 12-hour shifts, I don't know. And it had just entered what the nurses at that hospital called the dead hour. That night, one of her patients had just gotten a stent and he was in his 80s, but she said he was sweet, relatively calm. 2:30 in the morning, his call light goes off. She goes in there, he's like muttering, saying he's out there, the tall man, he's watching, he's in the hallway. She just thought it was like typical sundowning, maybe like the beginning signs of dementia. She gets closer to him to like check him out, and he reaches out and grabs her wrist and says he doesn't like nurses. He told me you're next. What? Everything in the room glitched. The lights, the TV that he had on, it all glitched for a second, but then went right back to normal. Immediately, she's freaked out, like, what the hell? She checks on him, gets everything that he needs, and then goes back out to the nurse's station. On her way back, she notices a man, tall, dark, standing at the end of the hallway like this. She's stunned, so she tries to like step towards him. As soon as she does, he disappears. She tells herself, okay, she's just stressed out, she's tired. He kind of freaked her out a little bit, but there was nothing there, right? There couldn't have been anything there. And then 4:47 rolled around. She was in their break room. She said that they had like a small mirror on the wall so that you could like look at yourself to make sure you didn't have anything on you or whatever before you went back out. And she's like, doing what she needs to do. And behind her is that tall man, again, facing the opposite direction. Spins around, he's gone again. So now she's super freaked out. She said she was wide awake now. She tells everyone what's going on. They're like, oh, you've never seen the tall man before? Like, he shows up every now and then. That morning, that patient starts to code. She goes in there. She's trying to like help him. He screams out like this horrific scream, sets up in the bed, says he's behind you, and then passes away. Everyone in the room, after he's gone, turns and looks at her like, who's he talking about? And she said, the tall man. And one of the nurses said, oh, you need to go. Like, you need to transfer somewhere else then, because if he's targeted you, you're in for it. She said she didn't stick around to find out what that meant. She just left. She hasn't seen the tall man since. Again, she's not the only one that emailed me about this tall man. Who is he? Is he like the Hat Man, but for hospitals? I need to know more about this. Let me know if you've seen him in the comments. Let me know what your stories were. I want to see if they're all kind of similar to this one. Okay, nurses.
Okay, this is, and I've seen her before. She talks about a lot of different things, so I want to let you know this is Tiff's Ghost Talk, Tiffs, Tiff's Ghost Talk. I've got so much to say about this. Okay, really, I do so much to say about this. I mean, first of all, don't come up in my hospital with your ghost attitude and grabbing my arm and tell me you don't like nurses. Because first of all, buddy, I've got patients on their call lights. I've got some actually sick and dying. I've got some that just want to be a pain in my butt. I've got families that are on my last nerve, and I've got administration and doctors breathing down my neck, and I really have been on my feet for 10 and a half hours, and I don't need you adding to my stress because I'm about to pop a gasket right now. And I'm just thinking, you have got your nerve where your undead self to come up in here and tell me you don't like nurses. Do you understand? I think we're going to have a come to Jesus meeting. The nerve of these undead people, these undead ghosts, these spirits. Look, I can take a lot. I have taken a lot. I still take a lot. But messing with a spirit that has the unmitigated gall to tell me I don't like a nurse and then you're going to follow me around, hide, turn around your back and scare me and have people say, oh, he's targeted you. Oh, yeah, buddy, you picked the wrong person. No. The nerve. I'm just saying. I did not listen to that one before. I have heard some of her stories before. I think I may have played some of her videos before. I did not listen to that story before we started playing it because I know that she's safe. There are some people, like, the language is just really so bad. I can't, and the stories are so bad. I can't play them, but I know she's safe, so I didn't listen to that one. Wow. Yeah, that one got my, that just, that got my goat. It did. It did. The nerve. Let's see. I think I talked to a ghost nurse once. Really? So what happened, Marty? Prof. Nurses have patience. That's the only kind of patience I have. The ones with the TS, not those. Oh, that's right, Melissa. Yeah, Spooky's in charge now. So leave. Yeah. I'm telling you. Like, there's a reason I work in corrections now. I worked for decades in regular nursing, and I'm just going to tell you, I got no patience for it. The living or the dead. All right, either one. Got no patience. We're not putting up with your stuff. We're not putting up with it. I'm going to take care of you, and I'm going to take care of you. But I'm not going to put up with any of your stuff. Again, living or dead. But yeah, I'd love to know, Marty Price, about your talking to a ghost nurse. I've talked to people that I couldn't find again, for sure. And you don't know. You're like, Was that my imagination? Was that person real? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Moon Gypsy Sharon, have cancer and going through radiation and chemo. I love all the nurses at the BCCC. Oh wow, you are a warrior, Moon Gypsy. Sharon, that is crazy. I used to work oncology. It's been a long time. Um, man, you are a fighter. You are a warrior. You keep on fighting. That is I think one of the hardest things ever. Um, it's it is much love to all the nurses that work oncology in chemo and radiation. I worked on the chemo side. But of course, we were a smaller hospital, so we worked together with the radiation nurses. But I worked specifically for the chemo doctor. Um, so my heart goes out to you. Um, I have a lady on my other channel. She just went through all that, and she is cancer free now. So I mean, she went through it and she came out the other side. She's doing great. So I know since I worked oncology, they've done a lot. They've come a long way. So yeah, we will be keeping you in our thoughts and prayers. Good vibes to you, Moon Gypsy. Um, don't put up with the shenanigans. Absolutely. Okay, Marty Price says, I was in intensive care and she seemed older than you would expect there. I thought about it after. Yeah, there's a lot of stories like that of people who are in like the unit or they're very, very sick and they say, the nurse that came in all dressed in white or who had the hat on or something like that nurses just don't do anymore. And so it really stands out. And I think there was one case. What was it? This has been months ago that somebody sent me in a story about a red-headed nurse named, I think her name was Barbara, something like that. And she was very distinctive, all in white. And she had actually died in a car crash. If any of y'all who have been watching this channel for a while, you might remember that story. And it was like, oh my gosh. And someone actually saw her, remembered her name, and it was just crazy. But yeah, I guess some nurses don't leave. Um, I'm sorry. When it's my time, I'm clocking out. I'm gone. I'm gone, y'all. I am gone. Thank you, Buckeye. Yes. Yes. Prayers for all in this room who need healing. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you've been here through all of this, please do remember we've got several people that really need prayer and lift them up for sure. Jamin says, okay, I will check my email. I'm glad you've enjoyed this episode. Absolutely. I enjoy lives. It's just, I never know when is a good time for people. And I usually don't do lives on this channel. It's very rare. But I thought, you know what? Let's do one. It's a holiday. I don't have to. I'm sorry. Something's knocking outside my door. What is it, Mina? You heard it too. I know. Oh, maybe somebody's knocking at the door. I don't know. Who knows? My house is haunted if you don't know. I think somebody just came in. My son must have came in the front door, so maybe that's it. Okay. D Chano. Is it Chano? Hi from Ontario. Hello, Ontario. I'd love to know where y'all are from. Sorry, it's my fault. My glasses. Let me just take my glasses off. I'm trying to get a camera that doesn't do that. I bought another one, but it made me look green. I look like a swamp creature, so I'm still on the hunt for one that does. Um. Oh, do you like spooky lives? Well, good, good. All right, just one or two more, and we're done with this whole set, y'all. Um. Oh, you're in California, Moon Gypsy. Bakersfield. Whoop whoop to Bakersfield. All right. Everybody put in there, just as we're watching these last couple ones, put in the comments where you're from. I love to know where you're from. All right. Let's see here.
I'm a night shift nurse and ghosts are just naturally attracted to me. So here's a story of working night shift in haunted hospitals. This one night it was super busy and I was working with this Jamaican nurse and she was like a no nonsense older nurse. I loved her. Well, it was very busy and the call bell kept going off in a room where no one was. We even unplugged the call bell. It would still go off and ring at the nurse's station. And the Jamaican nurse kept being like, "Is that room 4 again? Is that room 4 again?" Finally, she had it. She walks into the room and she starts telling off the ghost. She goes, "We don't have time for this. It is a very busy shift and you are annoying me and you're going to stop right now." And then she slams the door. And guess what? The call bell did not go off again the rest of the shift. Sometimes you got to put the ghosts in their place.
I don't know who this nurse is, the Jamaican nurse, but I am pretty daggum sure I would love to work with her. That is hilarious. Somebody says in the comments, and this is by Nurse Nurse Meg RN MEGRN. Someone says they just want to be acknowledged. Probably that is a lot true. Hospitals are the most haunted places. I used to be a CNA in a hospice / memory care and had so many paranormal experiences. There was one room, and the other nurses told me, "Don't be startled by anything that happens in there. It's very haunted." Yeah. Stuff used to move by itself and levitate. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know about the levitation thing. I'm like, yeah, when things start levitating, you need an exorcism. I'm just saying. All right, last one. Let's see what this one is. This is one of the ones that people can stitch. Okay.
Tell me what's the creepiest experience you ever had in your life and why you still think about that.
Top of the morning to you. So this happened about 3 weeks ago. We had a case in what is called the hybrid room. If you work in a OR, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They do like cardiac cases in there. Across the way is room 18. My friend was in there. So when our case ended in the hybrid room, I decided to go over there while they cleaned the room. You know what I mean? Like the EVS workers or in the ORAs cleaned our room. We didn't have another case, so I thought. So I was like, I'm going to go across the way and I'm going to talk to my friend. So I go into the room with her. This is room 18. And we're talking and I'm helping her get the room together and things like that. So time had passed. And her ortho doctor walked in with his assistant. So I'm like, time to go. I'm not in this room. I'm not in the chart. To say that I'm in this room, I'm going to take my butt across, back to the hybrid room and finish up cleaning anything that the EVS workers couldn't touch, drugs to put away, things like that. As I'm approaching the room, most of the OR doors have like a window in it. So I'm looking through the window and I can see inside of the hybrid room a man, a very tall man, white man. Make sure I be very descriptive. He is tying up his mask. He has on green scrubs. Now, mind you, where I work at, most people there wear gray scrubs. Okay? If you happen to wear green scrubs, you don't get like penalized for it. It's rare to see somebody in green scrubs. So when I see this very tall man, as I'm approaching the door to push the button to open the doors, I make sure I turn around because I'm like, I remember her doctor being very short and wearing gray scrubs like the rest of them. Doors open, I walk in. There ain't nobody in there that I can think of. Because as I'm, pressing the button, I'm like, maybe we have another case and my done behind just didn't realize it. I get all the way into this large room because the hybrid room is huge. I see no one. I look into the control room. No one. So I'm like, what? So while I'm in there, all of a sudden I feel this, the hairs on my arm starting to stand up because I'm like, I know what I saw. At this point, I'm like, let me get the hell out of here. Let me get up. So I go and I find the nurse and the tech. They're in the break room. And I'm like, we don't got a case? And they're like, no, not that I know of. My behind go up to the charge desk because I'm like, nah. I know what I saw. And I go up and they're like, no, there's no case. Go and take your lunch. We'll figure out what we're going to do with you afterwards. So I'm like, what the heck? I don't know who it was. I didn't want to share what I saw because I didn't want people to think, well. But every time I would go into that room, since 3 weeks ago, it always felt creepy by myself. And I was like, I'm not coming back in here by myself. I'm not going back in there unless I know somebody's in there. Yeah, y'all, that happened. I don't know who that man was. I don't care who that man was, but I know what I saw. And
Okay. I don't know if y'all could understand what she was saying. Let me see. Okay, if you didn't understand what she was saying, because it was hard for me to hear as well. I had everything turned up, and I'm probably too loud now. But she said she was. I think it's like an OR. Basically, she was putting away stuff. They were kind of done before lunch, and she could see there's glass from one door to another. So they're putting the stuff up, and she sees a guy in the next room. He's tall and he's wearing green scrubs. Well, everybody that she's been working with is not that tall, and they wear gray scrubs. It's not like completely unusual for someone to be wearing green scrubs, but it's more unusual. Now, I don't know what they're wearing now. Back when I worked in the hospital, which was quite a while ago, the standard was green. Yeah, whether it was OR or just the hospital scrubs were just this certain color green. And anyway, she said she sees this man staring at her, and she's like, and she says something to her coworkers and they can't see him. So she pushes the door open, she goes in there and she looks everywhere and there's nobody in the room. And she's like new and she doesn't want to say anything because, she doesn't want them to think they're all crazy, them to think that she's crazy. But she says every time she goes in this room, like she feels somebody's watching her. And she says, I know what I saw. And she says she still feels this thing. But she doesn't say that she's asked who could be wearing the green scrubs, but she's just like saying there's this creepy feeling every time she goes in there and she still feels that presence. So, I mean, to me, I wonder if it's a surgeon from maybe years ago that is no longer with us and maybe he's hanging out there. Somebody in scrubs is hanging out. All right, where y'all from? Okay, Cape Town, South Africa. Cool, Zully. Cape Town, that is so cool. Southeast Tennessee. You're not far from me. I'm in Alabama. Scotland. Oh wow, Miss Nat Nat. I think you've told me that before. I just forgot. Scotland's capital, and I never sleep well, so I always be on here for the lives until I fall asleep. Cool. Melissa Bryant, Illinois. Envoy, Pennsylvania. Yeah, Marty Price, you were next door in Mississippi. Gretchen, Illinois. MRI. You're right, Sarah. Back to the other story. An MRI could make metal levitate. True. True, it could. But I don't know. They said it was like a memory care unit. Didn't she? Isn't that what they said? Memory care. So if it's memory care, they wouldn't have anything like that. Um I don't know what that was about, Vicky, but because I don't know what that was in reference to. That thing is in there. Yeah. Lori says if I ran slap into a ghost, I would be levitating. Yeah, right. Butterfly, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a hot minute. Glad you're resting. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. Let's see. Nicole Lillis says, I'm enjoying the live spooky chat. My beautiful mom had an eerie experience in the hospital a few weeks before she passed. I'll share it one day. Oh, yeah, please do. I would love to hear it. Let me fix my light. Best wishes from Australia. Wow, down under. Cool. Lisa Glover from Alabama. Yay. Right here. I am in the northern part of Alabama. Alabama is a great state. I used to not think so. And look, there are days I'm like, oh God. Um, but most of the time, I look around at other states, and I used to compare Alabama and say, yeah, not so proud. But now I look at other states and I'm like, you know what? Alabama's looking better and better comparatively. Um, oh, I'm sorry you're sick, Butterfly. Lucy Anders from Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey, I love North Carolina. I used to live in Charlotte. North Carolina is a great state. Maine. Oh, love me some New England. Hello, Valerie from Maine. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been up as far as Maine, though. I've been to Massachusetts and been to New York State, Massachusetts, and whichever one is the highest. I've been all through all the states coming down again to Alabama. Been to a lot of those up there. So yeah, it's beautiful. New England is beautiful. San Diego, Eric. Hello to San Diego. Telling off the ghost. Oh, yeah, Vicky. Yeah, that's me telling off the ghost for sure. I'm pretty sure I've done that. From Missouri or from Massachusetts. Is that is it Massachusetts or Missouri? Which one is MA? If it's is it Massachusetts? See, I don't even know. By the way, I love Massachusetts. Love Massachusetts. I really was sincerely in 2018 wanted to move there. And then I realized I don't think I can deal with the snow. Other than that, I love Lizzie Borden B&B want to go. Yeah. I didn't go. I do want to go. It's on my bucket list. Moon Gypsy, because I wrote a book about Lizzie Borden, actually. Love Lizzie Borden. It was either there or I had a choice, either Lizzie Borden B&B or to Martha's Vineyard, and I chose Martha's Vineyard. And I thought, well, I'll come back because I wasn't going to spend the night, and I wanted to spend more time at Lizzie's anyway. It was going to be a short look around, so. The snow and the moose, yeah, Massachusetts. See, what is that? So, what is Missouri? Is it MI? Because Mississippi is MS. Look, I don't know my states, y'all. I don't know the abbreviations. But, y'all, I'm just going to tell you the best food I've ever eaten. And I'm going to tell you, the South has some really good food. Best food I've ever eaten in my whole life, including New York City, was in Massachusetts. Hands down. Best ever. It was just, I don't know. It's made by angels. I don't know what to say. It is amazing. Yeah. Missouri. Oh, Missouri is MO. Okay. See, there you go. I don't know. I don't know anything. All right. Well, I enjoyed this live with y'all. Missouri is MO. See? I don't even know. I don't know my states. Well, there's a lot I don't know. Obviously, besides my states, but I do know what to do with ghosts most of the time, especially when they're in my way in medical. Let's see. I've heard that moose won't move out of the road. Yes. I've heard that too, y'all. And I did not know until I saw videos, okay, because we don't have moose. We have bear down here in Alabama, and we have what is known as the Alabama white thing, which I think is really what you would call an albino Sasquatch. We do have a Sasquatch because I know this personally. Um, not a Sasquatch. I'm sure we got more than one, but bears are regular. We do have mountain lions, although people want to argue that point. We have bobcats. We don't have that big of things. I guess a black bear is probably as big as we get down here. Not that they're small, but But I had no idea because deer aren't big. Um, I saw videos of moose, y'all. They're huge. Like I had no idea. I think I might wet my pants if I saw a moose in like real life because they're ginormous. Have y'all ever like really seen a, a moose in real life or even video of a moose next to a man? Like they're huge. I had no idea. It's terrifying. All right. Lori says the best food. Okay, good night, Moon Gypsy. Yeah, I'm fixing to cut this off here in just a minute. A 9 foot tall moose sunflower. Oh my gosh. I'm just reading y'all everywhere. Best food you ever eaten was in Iceland. Well, I've never been there, so I wouldn't know. And you said Moon Gypsy says Canada. Wow. Wow. You more than likely have panthers. I I don't know. Some people say some people swear that there are. I've never seen a panther. I have seen a mountain lion. People wanted to say for a long time we didn't have those, but we do. Um, definitely have bobcats, and I've heard stories of panthers. Never seen one, but they're still not big on the scale of moose. Those are big. I don't know what all kind of cryptids. I don't do ginormous critters. Yeah, I try not to because can be a little bit scary. All right. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the holiday. I hope everybody's off tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. I think I did another video that's going to come out tomorrow. So I might not do anything until next weekend. I don't know. Thanks for hanging out with me. I love it when I can talk to y'all in real time, see what's going on. If you're on the replay, still type in where you're from. Just say replay, whatever. If you've got a story, email me. It's in the chat. If whatever. Have a great night. Be safe out there, especially because it's still crazy weekend and crazy time. World's crazy. Whatever y'all do, just stay spooky. All right. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Well,